We have to get rid of this. Hello. Hello and welcome, everyone. We appreciate you stopping by and joining us today, or thank you to all those who are going to multitask while they join us. We are live and we're here staying in our lane, sharing our knowledge from our personal experiences as well today. It's a new series about startups from a multifamily perspective. And that's what we're going to be, one of our first episodes. So I'm that Kimberly.
And it's Deb. I feel like those go really well together. But yes, today will be fun and you will provide a lot of knowledge on this subject in particular because you have done this before and you have learned a lot of lessons. So I'm excited to dig in because this will be a learning experience for me too.
Yeah. Well, and you'll give a great perspective from you've worked for lots of startups as well, and some perspective from the sales, director, marketing directors' perspectives, things of that sort that also people should consider for sure. So I'm excited to jump in as well. Before we do that, remember we are live from Facebook, from that Kimberly Business Facebook, from Deb's Facebook, from LinkedIn, from YouTube. But wherever you're watching from, please let us know where you're watching from. If you got a question, we want to answer those questions. And or if you just want to say hello, please do that. If you're watching on the replay, make sure you put hashtag replay and where you watched it from. And again, if you have a comment or you have a topic, well, not for this series, but if you want to join us and in on this conversation, we definitely want to have you in on this conversation because this is going to be a 10-part series, probably, if you will, right? Mm-hmm. That we're going to jump into this conversation about, right? It's because there's a lot that goes into starting a business. And when I Googled it, because Google is our mother, as Mr. Gary Vanderchuck likes to say, I found this great article from HubSpot that listed 10 outline steps. And these are, I kind of rearranged them based on my experience, but everybody obviously is a little different. And we're going to tackle each one of these from the perspective of multifamily and tips and tricks to think about resources and tools and things of all that. So everything from registering your name, your domain name, your social media accounts, business plan, legal and accounting, creative create, your customer acquisition strategy, market your business, how to sell your product and service, how to keep your customers happy. We always used to say, kiss those customers that you have and take care of those that you currently have because they're going to bring you more. And, funding your business and as well as free and affordable resources that definitely were not around, 15 years ago, but that are definitely now around. And we're excited to share those things with you. So
yes,
that's where we're going to dive into.
Awesome. So we're going to start with 5 topics, right?
Yeah. Yes. Here, let me share. Let me go back to sharing my screen. Today is 5 tips before you jump in. So we are going to talk about researching your name, where to go to research your domain and your social media, because social media is very, very important. And if you can get those all the same, that's even better. Make sure after all that you register your trademark and consider your branding, logo, website, all those things, and where to go and what to do with all those. So we're going to hit those first. Okay, so
number one,
research. Let me pull this website up. Deb, have you ever heard of Noam?
Not until you told me. This is really cool.
It is. It's pretty amazing. Let me see if I can zoom in. Can you see it okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the great thing about Noam.com is not only will they search for website and your social media, but they'll also look at trademarks. So to see if somebody else owns that same trademark because everybody, I tell people all the time, everybody has got a great name. For every one great idea, there's 10 other people thinking about it, right? It's whoever gets to it or gets to market first. So
So this is like a one-stop shop.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yeah, you can sign up for their service, but you don't have to. You can go in here and put in, like I put in It's Dementia, like since it's already there, I'll just go ahead and hit the search term, and then it tells me, can you see it spinning? And the great thing is it's going to tell me, that Instagram is available, or if the Pinterest is not, LinkedIn is not available, Flickr. Look at all these social media. Did you realize how many social media sites? There's so many out there and I'm not saying every single, you have to have every single one, but you should have your top 5, right? That you can utilize. And then if I scroll down, it also tells me the website domains, and you don't necessarily have to buy from this domain provider. You can go to, there's several out there. GoDaddy is a big one, but there's also aplus.net. I use, and I'm trying to think of a couple of other.
Wix.
Yeah, Wix is one as well. You can buy your domain from Wix.
I believe so.
Well, so there's so many now.
Made that up, but yeah, I believe so.
Well, yeah. Well, we'll go look, but you can't. Yeah. I mean, everybody knows that there's so many
right.
Out there, right?
There's there's a lot of resources out there for that.
Google is your mother again, right?
Yes. Google knows everything.
And then here is your United States PTO trademark database. You can go in here and research if it's unique enough and you want to have that trademark. And the reason this is extremely important is because when you go into, especially if you're either a new concept or I'm going to give you an example. There was a company that had been in the automobile business for, 15, 20 years, and they wanted to come into multifamily. However, they were a software service, a great software service, but their name had no tagline, and it was not spelled the same as another provider that had a product that was for benefits, right? And so when people heard their name, they thought it was the benefits product because they had already been in multifamily for a while. They weren't the same service, nothing, but their names were so similar. One was spelled with a Q, the other one was spelled with a K. But they just couldn't. So they had to educate people more. I always tell people, get a tagline if that happens. If you want to stick to that name because you've had it for 15 years, you definitely need to change and think about your marketing. So that's very, very important when coming to a new market or having a new business. So because it makes it hard, right? So that's one way to prevent that from happening, is just doing your research is what I always tell people. And then after you do that and everything checks out, then you definitely want to go. HubSpot provided in their article that they talked about the steps for, which we'll go into more, but this was just how to register your business. They give you 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So make sure the name you want is available, in your state. Conduct your trademark research as well as your domain and your, social media research so that you can get all those handles. Very, very important. And if you are a new corporation or LLC, your business will automatically get registered with your state. And if you're a sole supplier, help me out.
Sole proprietor.
There we go. Partnership or an existing LLC you can be doing business as. That's with the DBA. So, and then lastly, if you really want to file that trademark, you can do for under $500. I mean, if you want to use an attorney to do it, LegalZoom is a service that I started using after my first business, because we had an attorney and an accountant. But LegalZoom is definitely a service now out there that provides lots of different services from legal to accounting that I highly recommend people, and they could do that trademark research for you if you wanted them to. It's just going to cost you more money. So,
ideas.
Yeah.
Great tip. Yeah. And you get that started like as soon as possible, so that if you wait,
yeah,
you want to like ramp up and get going and then have to rebrand everything because you didn't do your research.
Yeah, I mean, look at what happened, didn't when you guys came into to when one app came in, right, to the
Hmm.
market. They had been around
Hmm.
for a while,
Right,
in the
right.
on the West Coast. And what was the different, like, when
Yeah,
people
so
talk to you?
we often get confused with the difference between a deposit alternative and a lease guarantee. So
Okay.
there's definitely differences, and but I think with both of them, they're not new concepts to the industry really, but they're
Hmm.
newer, and so a lot of people just don't really understand until I explain the differences to them.
Yeah, until they let you have that
Mhm.
60-second elevator pitch
Right.
to, because that's really important. I feel like more than ever, because we're so busy, if you don't catch their eye and their attention, and they're right there either looking at whatever they're looking at online about you,
Hmm.
your company, or when they're in front of you, then it's gonna take you longer to get back in front of them. What
Hmm.
do you how do you
Yes, yes. No, I mean, you don't want to have to start over with someone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that would be my worst nightmare, to put in all that work in the beginning and then feel like I needed to go and backtrack
Mhm.
because I
For sure.
needed to, yeah,
Yeah.
rebrand.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And rebranding costs, it costs a lot of money. It takes a lot of time. People kind of, you know, what I learned in, my first 15 years of business is I should have been marketing my company as well as myself, but I was always so bashful about it that I trademarked and we branded, capture the market in video girls and video guys, but not Kimberly Scott. So when we sold, I had to turn all that over, right, and start over on all
Oh.
social media. That's why. And Kimberly Scott's a very common name. And so it came down to either just Kimberly or that Kimberly. And I chose
Mhm.
that Kimberly because, you know, it's,
Yeah.
I had to start over.
Yeah.
So, branding and, so thinking along those lines, if you're going into business, there's nothing wrong with, branding yourself as well. Look, yes, Laura, we agree. Hashtag Laura Lestis. Thank
Yes.
you for joining us,
And
Laura and
Randy.
Randy. Yes, thank you, Randy. So both of these ladies know a lot about marketing as well. Open invitation to both of y'all
Mhm.
to come on and
Yes.
talk about your experiences when it comes to that, because it is something that I feel in nowadays um, we don't do enough of, right?
Mhm. Right.
So once you know that everything, your research is, you've done your research on your name and your product, your social media, then, getting your logo. And keep in mind, HubSpot's article listed to start with the business plan. But I know we didn't even do our business plan until we started raising money, right?
Mhm.
I do feel like the name and your research about your product is like almost hand in hand, but it's very, very important before you go spend all that money on a business plan or spend all that time on a business plan of doing it yourself. So making sure that you
Mhm.
can stand out from the
Right.
crowd.
What are your recommendations when it comes to your logo? Like, I feel like that's such a commitment.
Hmm.
What are your top tips for figuring out what your logo should be?
Well, I would definitely, you know, Canva has a great. I use Canva.
Mhm.
When we got our logo done, and I'm going to share this website. I'm going to share my screen. Um, Canva's like you can. I highly recommend paying for the service. We're not sponsored. They're not
Mm-mm.
sponsoring us. We
Nope.
just think they're amazing. We both do.
Yep, I pay for it every month. I love it.
Yeah.
And if you have not got into the Canva world, then I highly recommend it.
Yes, definitely. So they have everything from presentations to, let's go to logos. They have you. Let me just search logo. My internet is moving slow today.
Yes. Of course it
So
is.
I think the great thing about Canva is they have all these designers that have contributed their ideas, and if have a paid subscription, you have a lot more choices. If you have the free one, it's a few, but still. whatever you can afford, and then maybe put your own flair on it, right? It
Mhm.
shouldn't be exactly, because this is a very, they're already advertising. I've been using Canva way before they're advertising on television and way before they do all the things that they do now. But they are definitely, yes, Tommy, we love Canva too. Um, I can't,
Tammy.
Tammy, I'm sorry,
Tammy
sorry.
Barley. No.
Yeah, Tammy. But if you get in there and you adjust according to what you think your colors are, what you feel, but make a couple of them, and then maybe you and maybe your co-founder, or you and some, like, show it to some people, and don't tell them what you're thinking.
Mhm.
Let because really it's what the
Get their
market.
feedback.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get their feedback, because it's not about what we like,
Mhm.
even though you should feel warm about it, but what's going to catch your audience's attention? Maybe do a customer persona, which that's something we'll dive into later on in the series, but maybe doing a customer persona before being totally attached to
Mhm.
a one logo, but maybe having a couple different styles of it. So, because there's going to be a logo that you put on your website, there's going to be a logo that you put on your business card, there's going to be a logo that you give to put on a banner. There's going to be, there's logos for everything, different, but coming up with some schematic, some brand design that you're going to stick with.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
Canva's unless you have a graphics artist, or unless you're a graphic artist, Canva's the way to go for people who
Right.
are not.
Very
That's the only
cool.
one I found,
Mhm.
and you can, Vistaprint is one you can create as well. They're an inexpensive way to print cards. They do offer logo design now as well. I'm trying to think of what else they offer, but there's a couple of services out there, but nothing as robust I mean, I use Canva, period. So
Mhm.
there are other, you could Google top 10 free design sites maybe
Mhm.
and see what comes
And
up.
then, just to spin off from Canva, some other great tools in this world,
Yeah.
that exist for us, like, uh, if you need contractors, like you don't have time for the creative part, or you're
Mhm.
not the creative person. Upworks, Fiverr, uh,
Yeah.
Free Up. Those are, I loved knowing that we have those resources out there,
Mhm.
because you can find an expert in whatever it
Yeah.
is that you need somebody to crank out for you. So you've
Yeah.
had a lot of good experience with that, right?
Yeah, for sure. Laura asks about website design suggestions. So, I recommend getting 3 quotes. Always get 3 quotes from, whether it's
Mhm.
a company, company agency that does that, or a contractor. Doesn't matter. I've used Fiverr, and I've used freeup.com, and that's with 3 E's. FreeUp is with 3 E's. Um, and I actually, on FreeUp, I had a virtual assistant at one time, and I actually used a contractor for my web design. Um, and I also use them for, I found different people for different things, right? Because
Mhm.
I don't do design, and I used to have a team of people that did all that, and now I don't. I'm a person of one. So always get 3 quotes, and get quotes based on, how they communicate with you, you're like, if they follow those instructions, like, if you give them, hey, this is what I'm looking for, can you give me some examples? Fiverr I've used for just one-off image type of things that I need. And and I have never used Upworks, but they're just as big as Fiverr. So but getting 3 quotes and making sure that they know what they're doing by asking for references, right? Because your website, it definitely, it can mess things up if they don't know what they're doing. Um, and
Mhm.
if you don't want to jump directly into a website, there are like their landing pages. It's called Linktree or Shorby, that you could use that for the meanwhile. Let me just show you a quick little example of what that looks like, um, because those will allow you to send people to maybe a landing page or a product that you really want to, highlight. See,
Mhm.
can you see my,
Yes. Your link tree.
yeah. So these are just different places that for the nonprofit that I started, like I can send them to different links. We have a planner that we put out. Our Do As We Do Facebook page, or Do As We Do Instagram, or Do As, and we have a website as well, but that took a little while. So you could use this instead
Mm-hmm.
for a website until you really found those contractors that you feel comfortable with.
Right. And I think a lot of people don't know about this.
Yeah. Linktree and Shorebly.
Mm-hmm.
Shorebly. It'll come up if you were to Google it. Let me show you the image, or let me show you in case I'm not speaking language correctly today.
Can't
There
get
it
your
goes.
words out.
Yeah, there we go. So this allows you to put in your name. Like it says Shore. It's like the URL is yours, but it's a shortened URL, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it looks, let's see if I can show you the front of it. Why is it not letting me? Here we go. Hmm.
Looking good.
See, so you can send
Mm-hmm.
them anywhere you want and have your different branding there as well.
Mm-hmm. That's
So those
cool.
are good. Those are good alternatives until you find somebody. The key is to feel comfortable. The key
Mm-hmm.
is for you not to, go down that route and then have to totally rebrand yourself.
Yes, that would be my worst nightmare.
It is. It is something that people. The amount of money you can spend on a website and then have to redo it, starting
Mm-hmm.
at, $3,000 is inexpensive with, and not a website you would really want,
Right.
probably, you can get templated websites on,
Mm-hmm.
I think, Squarespace, and MailChimp is now offering websites. I heard Wix, GoDaddy
Mm-hmm.
offer, even though those are domain providers, they also offer websites, easy template, but my brain doesn't work that way. I don't know about yours. Deb, are you
No, you know what? This is an area where I would just have to like get an expert to handle that because
yeah.
it's not in my wheelhouse. So I can
Yeah.
Canva things all day long, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to put together your website. Like,
Yeah. And even the Canva, and like, even when my clients, I let them know this is the tool I use. If you're not good with this, please let me know. I can use your images, but I'm going to put them into this to make, material, marketing material, presentation material, letterheads, things of that sort, because those are all very important, right?
mm-hmm,
When you start a new business, because people want to do business with not just a person that they trust, but a company that's going to be around, right? Like
right.
I feel is a big, um, I don't know about the startups that you've worked for, but when we started almost 15 years ago, we had to educate people about how what we were doing video was different than a virtual tour, right? A virtual tour was not video, even though people would always call it that, or they would put photos together with music. And I was like, no, this is video like you would see on television,
Mm-hmm,
just condensed to 60 to 90 seconds, and you put it on your website. Like we
right.
had to educate people that way, right? And it was a ongoing process that we will also go into our business plan later, that we should have been ready to, that's one of the things I learned is education, education, education. Always be beating the drum of whatever your business is. Would you not say is
No,
because
completely agree. I love it.
multifamily is kind of skeptical, right? When it comes
Mm-hmm. Yes,
to startup.
multifamily. I think it's a tough one to crack,
Yes.
especially when you're new. So, and there's a million side conversations we could go into, and
Yeah.
we will, but not today.
Yeah.
But
We're trying to keep this 30 minutes, people,
yes, we're trying
still.
to keep it 30 minutes because we could talk all day long about this. But yeah,
Yeah.
this is great. I love that you shared all of this experience from your own expertise. So.
Yeah. It's been a process, and I know you'll have some tips and tricks when it comes to the sales side of what we, of the
Mhm.
way multifamily is, things that you've learned, because they want to make sure that whatever business they are is that they're going to be around, that they're going to, they want the latest and greatest in technology, but they want to make sure that they're not going to be that whatever they recommend to their teams, that business isn't going to be out of business in a year.
Right. They have to believe in your product and believe in your company. Like it's
and believe in you that you're going to fulfill it, right? Like
right.
how many times, like this will be a topic we're definitely going to go through, but like that people stop to listen because it's you, right? They'll give you a chance because they've seen you execute, right?
And I, they've seen me around for a long time. They know I'm not going to go anywhere either. So yeah. So that definitely helps.
It's very important. Oh, Miss Laura. Hi, we miss you too. Miss your face.
Oh, hi, Laura. Thanks for popping on.
Yeah, definitely. So yes, again, folks, this will be our series. We're going to be sprinkling in some guests as well that are going to share their insights from that perspective as it relates to startups, either working with or starting a startup. And so if you want,
I'm excited. We're gonna hear some tips and tricks and things we wish we knew before we started from the management perspective. Starting a management company from the ground up. So I mean, I'm excited to dig into this.
Yeah, softwares that we didn't have, we didn't get to that we didn't have when we started. Like that was definitely something that
we can definitely cover, like so many helpful tools that this industry has at its fingertips. And a lot of people coming in when they're new and companies, they don't even know about these tools. So this will be really good for a lot of folks.
Yeah. So again, we want y'all, I'm just going to put this slide back up so the research from your product and your service and going to know them along with the trademark. And then of course picking your domain to be the same as your social media, and then making sure your branding is consistent and using the tools like Canva, Vistaprint, Wix, MailChimp. That's probably more than 5 tips, but we're trying definitely to keep this in that 30-minute mark. So we appreciate you all. Thank you, Brian. We're glad it's helpful. He's off starting his real estate business. It's booming.
Nice.
Yes. So if you need a realtor,
Brian Crawford, call him. He can help you. But thanks for all the feedback too. And if you guys have anything that you want to hear more about, we are all ears, because we are just trying to bring you information that you want to hear and that's valuable to you.
Yes. Valuable information is the key. And we know that we would have, I feel like a lot of people shared stuff with me that I want to pay that forward. And then I learned from just my overall journey as well as you did, right? There's so many things I've learned from you, Deb, that it definitely has been, great just these past, 2 years of getting to know you better. So I think it's a good journey that we'll all get to go on, over the next couple of months for sure.
Yes. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, everyone. Tammy, Laura, Brian. Did I get everybody? Randy. Yes.
Thank you, guys. We'll wrap it up. But thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, definitely. And don't. Oh, that was the wrong one. I meant to put this up. Sorry. Sorry, Kelly. That's not what I meant to do. Here we go. Again, here's our email addresses. So don't forget. Next Tuesday, we'll see you 11:30. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Yay!
Bye, guys.
Okay. Bye, y'all. Have a great one.